A blind date. That's all it was, but the woman waiting inside was the enemy he'd been fighting in court.
Table 7. Takeshi better not have picked another astrology obsessive. She's beautiful. Wait, that profile. I've seen it in the case files. Reina Mori. The plaintiff who's been suing our biggest account for months. This can't be happening.
Reina looked up from the menu, and her polite smile vanished. She saw the company logo on his briefcase.
That firm. That's the defense firm. He's one of them.
They stood frozen, the candlelight flickering between them. The noise of the restaurant faded to a distant hum.
You work for them?
And you are the one suing my client.
The blind date had turned into an ambush. Neither of them had even sat down, but the battle lines were already drawn. Both took a half step back, their minds screaming retreat. But the social trap had already closed around them.
Turn around and walk out. Don't give him the satisfaction of seeing you rattled.
A waiter materialized at their side, beaming with professional cheer, utterly unaware of the silent detonation.
One drink. Off the record. Not a single word about business.
Fine. One drink. Then we never speak again.
Without looking at each other, they ordered the cheapest bottle of red and waited for it to arrive.
2. Surviving the next hour.
The wine was adequate, the silence unbearable, and then his phone shattered it. The screen glowed with Takeshi's cheerful message. So, was Reina's photo accurate, or what? The man who had unknowingly ignited this disaster was asking for a date review.
Takeshi wants a date review. He has no clue he just detonated my entire career.
Is that the mutual friend who thought this was a brilliant idea? He doesn't know what his date setup really entangled, does he? Neither did I, until your client destroyed my family. My older sister ran a small textile startup. Your client offered a partnership that turned into a predatory contract.
Predatory is a strong accusation. My client insists the terms were standard industry practice.
Standard? They buried her in hidden fees, then sued her for breach when she couldn't pay. She lost everything.
The clink of forks and muted laughter around them felt like another world. This table was its own courtroom.
6 months after the bankruptcy finalized, her heart stopped. The doctors called it stress-induced cardiomyopathy.
This isn't about money. This is a wound, and I've been defending the knife.
Ryota's professional armor didn't shatter. It just stopped fitting. He couldn't unhear the tremor in her voice. Ryota set his glass down, the wine suddenly tasting like ash. He needed facts, not feelings.
You've told me pain, but in the discovery documents, the contract reads dry and legal. Where's the smoking gun?
Your firm made sure there is no smoking gun. They buried the communication logs, settled the whistleblower out of court. All I have is testimony and a dead sister.
The word dead landed like a stone. Ryota realized he'd been asking the wrong questions.
If I looked informally, could I find something you missed?
Why would a defense firm's account manager help me? You'd risk everything.
Because I can't unhear her. Because if my name is on a case that ruined a family, I need to know. Let me look. One pass through the internal files. If I find nothing, you'll never hear from me again.
Reina studied his face for a long moment. Then she nodded once. No promises, no gratitude. Just a fragile thread of possibility. The check arrived. They split it wordlessly. Outside the restaurant, they walked opposite directions into the night. Ryota spent the night watching shadows crawl across the ceiling. Reina's voice echoed in the dark. By 6 a.m., he was already at his desk, coffee untouched, fingers on the keyboard.
One look. That's all I promised. Just enough to see if she was telling the truth.
He bypassed the front-end interface and went straight into the raw case correspondence folders. There were memos with subject lines he'd never seen in Discovery. Damage control. Witness management.
Damage control. That's not legal strategy. That's suppression.
One email instructed a junior associate to remind a former employee of their non-disclosure obligations.
They didn't just defend the client. They cleaned up the mess.
Ryota felt a chill that had nothing to do with the air conditioning. His firm had buried evidence. By the time the office lights flickered on for the day, Ryota was staring at a crime scene, not a case file. The memos were a warning, not the truth. Ryota needed the hidden correspondence. He used an old admin backdoor to bypass the access log, heart hammering with every keystroke. An encrypted folder opened. A chain of emails marked confidential, client correspondence from Tanaka to the client. We need to paint the plaintiff as a bitter, unstable woman. Her credibility is our target.
Character assassination. They weren't just defending, they were destroying her.
Another email. If we twist the sister's medical records to suggest pre-existing stress, we deflect the emotional damages claim.
They were going to weaponize her sister's death, use her grief as a defense.
Ryota's hands trembled. He wasn't reading a case file. He was reading a conspiracy.
If Tanaka finds out I've been in here, my career is over, but I can't unread this.
The cursor blinked over the evidence. Ryota froze, trapped between his career and a dead woman's voice. Tanaka's voice cut through the quiet morning. Ryota, my office. Now.
He knows. I am caught.
Ryota walked into Tanaka's office, the heavy door sealing behind him with a click that echoed like a cell lock.
You've been poking around the Siren case files. Care to explain?
I was reviewing standard trial prep. The junior team flagged some inconsistencies.
Stay in your lane, Ryota. That client pays for your chair. One wrong move and you are moving boxes.
The threat was so smoothly delivered, it could have been a compliment, but the glint in Tanaka's eyes was pure steel.
He's warning me off, which means there's something to find.
Ryota nodded, apologized for the misunderstanding, and walked out with a steady pace that betrayed nothing. But in his chest, the ember had caught flame. The firm was guilty, and he couldn't pretend otherwise. That night, after the cleaning crew left, Ryota returned. The floor was silent, the air heavy with secrets. He used a maintenance keycard he'd lifted months ago. The file room door clicked open with a soft, guilty sound. In a box labeled Seiren, terminated, hidden behind obsolete toner cartridges, he found it. A black flash drive. He plugged it into a disconnected laptop. The screen flooded with original drafts, contracts with clauses struck out, and internal chat logs. Log from CEO to legal team. The penalty escalator is designed to be triggered. We want them in breach by Q3. Push the timeline. And another. The sister's health is an asset. Stress works in our favor. Let the clock run.
They planned it. Every clause, every delay. They knew her sister was dying.
Ryota stared at the screen until the words blurred. He had the smoking gun. Not circumstantial. Signed, dated, undeniable.
This will end them. It will end me too. But she deserves to know.
The drive slipped into his pocket like a grenade. All that remained was pulling the pin. In the gray hours before dawn, Ryota sat at his kitchen table. The flash drive a cold weight against his palm. He opened a folder labeled Aftermath. The first message. The sister's cardiac event is a stress-related gift. It deflates the emotional damages claim.
They didn't just cause it. They bet on it. And they laughed.
A bonus allocation memo. Tanaka and the lead partner stood to receive six-figure payouts if the plaintiff settled under $500,000.
This firm is an accomplice, and I've been taking their money.
2 days ago, he was a well-paid professional. Now he was holding a match to his entire future.
But I can still see her face. The way she said her heart stopped. I can't bury this.
He decided. An anonymous envelope to her lawyer. Then a resignation letter on Tanaka's desk before the sun set.
She'll never know it was me. That's cleaner. For both of us.
He closed the laptop and pulled out a blank envelope. The grenade had no pin left. Ryota copied the drive's contents onto a brand new memory stick. No fingerprints, no metadata tying it back to him. He wrote, "Enclosed documents prove deliberate predatory contracting and suppression of evidence in the Siren case. Verify independently." He slipped the letter and the copied drive into a plain brown envelope, then sealed it with more care than he used on client contracts. Next, a resignation letter. 5 lines, no explanations, effective immediately. signed with a hand that didn't tremble.
As soon as this envelope lands in a mailbox, my career is over. But so is the cover-up.
He slid both envelopes into his briefcase, then paused. For one long minute, he stared at the drawer where his work ID lay.
No turning back after this. But I've been turning away for years.
He closed the briefcase with a soft click, the sound of a decision made. The right moment would come before the day ended. He checked the lawyer's office address one last time. A building 2 train stops from his firm, anonymous, public. Outside, the city was waking up, unaware that one man had just loaded a truth bomb into his morning commute. On his way to the office, Ryota stopped at an anonymous postbox near a busy intersection. No cameras, no witnesses. The envelope slid into the slot with a gentle thump, carrying the weight of a dead woman's justice.
It's out of my hands now. One more stop, and I am free.
20 minutes later, Ryota set his briefcase on Tanaka's desk. The resignation letter lay on top, uncreased.
What is this? You can't just walk out in the middle of the Siren case. This is professional suicide.
Consider it done. My reasons are my own. I have nothing more to say to you.
You'll regret this. I'll make sure no firm touches you. You are finished, Ryota.
Ryota met Tanaka's glare without flinching. For the first time in years, he didn't care about the consequences. He packed his desk into a single cardboard box, a few personal books, a coffee mug, a photo of his family. The elevator doors closed on the only firm he'd ever worked for, and Ryota felt the unbearable lightness of a clear conscience. 2 days after Ryota walked out of his firm, Reina received an urgent evening call from her lawyer. An anonymous package had arrived.
What do you mean, a package? Who would send us anything?
The lawyer described a plain brown envelope stuffed with internal firm memos, a flash drive, and a typed, unsigned note.
Internal documents? That's impossible. Someone inside the firm must have leaked them.
She rushed to the lawyer's office. The documents spread across the table were a confession of deliberate fraud.
This is everything. The hidden clauses, the memo about weaponizing my sister's health. We can win. We can actually win.
For the first time since her sister's death, Reina felt the heavy fog of grief begin to lift. Justice suddenly felt possible.
Who sent this? Who would risk their career for a stranger's justice?
She thought back to the blind date, to Ryota's torn expression. But the timing was impossible, his loyalty too firm. She dismissed the thought. The anonymous source remained a ghost, but the evidence was real. Reina's legal team filed an emergency motion. The trial was set to begin in 10 days. 10 days later, the courtroom was packed with the scent of old wood and tension. Reina stood at the plaintiff's table, heart pounding.
This is for you, sister. Today, the truth comes out.
In the back row, Ryota slipped in unnoticed, a ghost in a rumpled blazer. Unemployed, but not uninvolved. Reina's lawyer presented the leaked documents. The judge leaned forward as the hidden clauses were read aloud.
They weaponized my sister's illness. They called it an asset. Every delay was calculated.
The defense table was a storm of whispered panic. Their foundation had turned to sand.
They're drowning, and I am the one who cut the lifeboat. But this is right. This is justice.
Reina's testimony was a blade by the end. Even the court reporter had stopped breathing.
I can't feel my hands, but I've never felt this close to her. Wait for me, sis.
The judge called for closing arguments the next morning. The trial was ending faster than anyone expected. The courtroom held its breath as the judge unfolded the paper. The silence was absolute. Then, the words that shattered it. This court finds in favor of the plaintiff on all counts. Treble damages awarded.
We did it, sister. We did it. I can finally say your name without it breaking me.
Reina's knees buckled. Her lawyer caught her as a sound between a laugh and a sob escaped her lips.
It's over. She's free. I can finally breathe again.
From the back row, Ryota allowed himself one small, invisible smile. Then, he stood. He slipped out the side door as Reina's supporters swarmed the plaintiff's table, cheers drowning out the camera shutters.
Someone gave me back my sister's name, Whoever you are, thank you.
She searched the gallery instinctively, but the only face she recognized was her own reflection of grief and relief. The gavel fell. The battle was over. The ghost of her sister seemed, for the first time, at peace. 2 months dissolved into a haze of closed doors and unanswered emails. Ryota stopped counting the rejections after the 30th.
Every firm in the city has been warned off. Tanaka's shadow is longer than I ever imagined.
Takeshi, oblivious, continued his carefree life. His biggest headache, the final boss of his favorite game.
The settlement cleared. It should feel like victory. But all I can think about is the flowers on her grave.
Every Sunday, Reina knelt by the columbarium, tracing her sister's name with a fingertip. The stone was always cold.
Someone sent me the truth. Someone inside that firm. And I still don't know who to thank.
Ryota had begun to consider leaving Tokyo altogether. The city felt like a monument to his failure.
Maybe a fresh start in Osaka, or Fukuoka, anywhere but here.
They circled each other like satellites, bound by invisible gravity, never quite colliding. But fate, and a very nosy friend, had other plans. Fate chose a cramped cafe in Shibuya, where Takeshi looked up from his game to find Reina staring back.
Reina, fancy meeting you. I still feel bad about that blind date disaster. Any hard feelings?
None. It was a strange night, but you couldn't have known. Thanks for trying, though.
She stirred her tea, the unspoken question hanging in the air. She'd never heard from Ryota again.
Wait, you never talked to him after? He just cut you off? That's cold.
He vanished. I figured he wanted to forget. Then I heard he quit the firm right after.
Quit? The timing matches the leaked documents. Could he have? No way. Ryota, the straight-laced account manager, risking everything for us. But who else?
Takeshi's thumbs froze over the screen. The puzzle pieces clicked into place with a sickening snap. He had to confront him, right now. His fingers were already dialing. Takeshi found him on the same park bench where Ryota had been measuring his failures. The silence broke like glass.
You leaked the evidence. You threw away your career to save a woman you barely know. Tell me I am wrong.
He figured it out. Of all the people, Takeshi, you are not wrong. I couldn't sleep after I heard her story. I went looking and I found a crime scene.
You idiot! You should have told me. But that took guts. Real guts. Real guts. She doesn't know it was you. She's been thanking a ghost. You have to tell her, Ryota, now.
Tell her? And say what? I was the enemy who watched you cry. Then I turned traitor. Fine. I'll go. But if she slams the door, I am blaming you.
He stood, the weight of weeks pressing down. But for the first time, it felt like it might lift. Ryota walked toward the station, her apartment address burning a hole through his pocket. No more hiding. The apartment door looked like a verdict waiting to be read. Ryota's knuckles met the wood before his courage could fail.
Ryota? What? Why are you here?
I need to tell you something. Can I come inside?
She stepped back, her silence granting permission. The couch held them like strangers.
After the blind date, I broke into my firm's files. I found the memos, the clauses. They planned your sister's ruin. I copied everything and sent it to your lawyer. Then I resigned. I couldn't stay part of that machine.
He destroyed himself. For me. The enemy cried in the courtroom. And he answered, you threw away your career. Just because I told you about my sister.
Because it was wrong. Because I couldn't unhear you. Because she deserved justice.
Reina's hand covered his, trembling. No words came, but the silence wasn't empty.
Thank you. I spent months wondering if there was a single decent person inside that firm. It was you the whole time.
I didn't do it for gratitude. I did it because I couldn't live with being part of the lie.
Still, you gave me back my sister's name, and I think I'd like to know the man who did that. The real you, not the courtroom opponent.
She's offering a second chance. After everything. I don't deserve this. I'd like that. To try again. No case files, no secrets. Just two people.
They didn't kiss. They just sat there, hands intertwined, the weight of the past finally easing into something lighter. They started small, coffee in the morning, texts that didn't hurt to read. It felt fragile, like a glass globe.
My sister would have liked you. She always said the best people are the ones who surprise you.
I wish I could have met her. I would have told her that her sister is the bravest person I've ever known.
And for the first time, Reina smiled without the shadow of grief. Justice and forgiveness had finally shaken hands. The weeks turned into a quiet rhythm. Ryota found a position at a small, ethical firm. No big clients, no secrets.
I walk into work without dread. I didn't know that was possible.
Their dates became a canvas for rediscovery. Favorite books, childhood dreams, the way she laughed when he spilled coffee.
You actually snore when you are stressed. That explains the courtroom nap.
Only when my conscience was on mute. It's much quieter now.
Takeshi, from a strategic distance, had been polishing his I did this story. His texts grew insufferably smug.
You are welcome. Best blind date disaster in history. I am basically a relationship genius.
He will never let this go.
A year slipped by with the softness of cherry petals. The wounds became scars, and the scars became a shared history. And on an evening much like their first, Ryota took her hand and led her to the riverbank, a question burning in his pocket. By the river where she once cried for justice, Ryota knelt. Reina's answer was a tearful laugh and a yes that echoed across the water. The wedding was small, just family, a few friends, and Takeshi, who kept adjusting his tie like it was a costume. At the altar, her mother's pendant glinting against the ivory dress, Reina was radiant.
I promised to spend the rest of my life earning the second chance you gave me.
And I promise to never again have a first date quite that memorable.
Takeshi's toast began innocently. Some people bring flowers. I brought a lawsuit.
Before you laugh, remember, without my terrible planning, you two would still be glaring across a courtroom. You are welcome.
The tent rippled with laughter. Ryota squeezed Reina's hand, and she leaned into his shoulder. They kissed under cherry blossom confetti, and the world felt startlingly, impossibly right.
Best mistake I ever made.
As the sun dipped below the tree line, Ryota and Reina shared one last kiss under the cherry blossoms. The confetti still caught in her hair. The past was no longer a wound but a foundation, and the future stretched ahead with their hands intertwined. Takeshi watched from the garden gate, a self-satisfied grin on his face as the newlyweds walked into the quiet evening.
Yep, still a relationship genius.
He raised his glass in a silent toast, the crystal catching the last gold of the sun.
I did that.
He winked at the camera, then turned away, leaving the story to its two heroes. They had started as enemies across a courtroom and ended as two halves of a single, improbable story. A blind date, a lawsuit, a choice, and a love that refused to lose. Because sometimes, the worst first date is the best thing that can ever happen.